Hello there guys, and welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Histon. And coming up in today's video we have got an away game in the league against Rugby. But before we get into that, let's take you through what's been happening since you were last with us, which was the double home live com against Torquay in the FA Cup and the crazy 3-all draw that we had against Hereford. But unfortunately though, the momentum we managed to obtain from being 2-0 down in this particular match, we weren't able to carry over into the next game against Barwell, where we lost 3-1 away from home. Brian Shipley having the game of his life with a hat-trick after Justin May had opened the scoring for us after 11 minutes. So I think the fact that they scored quite late on when we were trying to hold on to that 1-0 advantage. But yeah, they then went 2-1 up after 73 minutes, and we just tried to push forward to try and get that equaliser before they got a penalty towards the end of the game, and that wrapped up the match. Bit of a disappointing performance from that, but one of those things, I guess, the fact that Kogel didn't really have the greatest games at 6.3, he had to come in for Shane Lovell at the time, which was a bit frustrating. I think he was suspended or he was injured or something like that, one of the two things. We then followed that up with a 0-0 draw against Bishop Stortford. Nothing much to report here. Bishop Stortford didn't really get many chances, neither did we, to be honest. No real highlights, to be honest, in the match. So, again, a disappointing result, though, from our perspective, considering we were at home and we're trying to battle for those playoff positions, especially against a team that are... I don't know where exactly Bishop Stortford are in the league right now. I think they were top half last time I checked. They're 13th in the league at the moment, so yeah, a bit of a disappointing result there. We then followed that up with a 2-0 victory against Dunstan. I didn't really... we had to get the win because Dunstan have been really struggling in the division. They're bottom by quite a margin, and yeah, it would have been unacceptable if we weren't able to get this victory. George Newell and Shane Lovell scoring the goals, with Louis Hoolican getting sent off after 66 minutes, and Dunstan didn't really show any fight against us. I mean, they had a couple of chances here or there that were quite close to us, but that was just before Shane Lovell made it 2-0. So we were riding on luck a little bit, but we needed to get that second goal, and we got it, which was really important. We also got the clean sheet out of that as well. Unfortunately, though, we came back down to earth with a 1-0 defeat away against Boston. We played quite well in this game, but yes, based on the chances, we didn't really get as many chances on goal as Boston did. But we had more possession than them, which was quite interesting, especially away from home. But the one goal, they only scored one goal, and that was courtesy of Curtis Morrison, who got an assist from Obafemi. And we just can't get over the hump of beating Boston. We haven't managed to win or get even a point against Boston so far in the 3 games I think we've played against them so far in this save. So it's been really frustrating that we can't get over the hump on them, but they are running away with the league right now. If we have a quick look at the, as you can see there, Boston first in the division, as you can see, look at that form. I mean, they've had a bit of a bad run recently, but they've been absolutely on fire when it comes to the league. So yeah, one of those things, I guess, and we're just gonna have to probably battle in the playoffs. We then followed that up with a KG 2-1 victory away against Nuneaton. We actually had back-to-back games away against Nuneaton, but first off in the FA Trophy third qualifying round, which was the first match in that. Lyle Taylor scoring an equaliser after 1 minute after Gary Scott opened the scoring for Nuneaton, before Luca Koval putting the ball in the back of the net after coming off the bench. It was really good goal actually, after 72 minutes. Thomas Cruz getting injured after an injury time for Nuneaton, but yeah, that was a really important victory to get us back into the swing of things and get us through into the next round of the FA Trophy, into the first round for that particular match. And then we followed that up with a 2-0 victory this time. Lyle Taylor scoring both goals. So that's 3 goals he managed to score against Nuneaton in the space of 2 matches. Nuneaton didn't really create anything in this particular match. Taylor was absolutely on form with that, 2 goals. An assist also from Williams and also George Thomas from that front to give us the important 3 points. Then followed that up with a 3-0 victory against Stalybridge. Really good performance again from the team. George Newell scoring, Taylor also scoring a really... it's quite a comical own goal because I think Stalybridge keeper hit the ball against his own player, and Taylor was the furthest forward to take advantage of that and put the ball in the net. Then Luca Koval also scoring after coming off the bench again. So considering the fact that he did score, I decided to start him in the next game, which is actually the last game before we do the live com. And this was a crazy 5-0 victory away against Accrington Stanley, a team that are currently in Vanarama National challenging for the playoffs, but we completely destroyed them. I just didn't understand how we were so good against them. I mean, they had one chance earlier on in the match which could have changed the game if they had managed to put it away, but David Wilson scored, or David Wilson, who's the keeper, had a comical own goal when I think it was a shot put in by either Thomas. I think it was Thomas actually who put the shot in, and or Davidson, one of the two, and Wilson tried to hold it, and he just palmed it into his own net, which was really, really soft. And then Terrell Thomas scored from a set piece. Kuyar then scored from the penalty spot just a couple of minutes later, straight off the kickoff, pretty much. Koval then scored a 46th minute goal, really pretty nice, well walked goal to make it 4-0 before he added a second goal in the 79th minute to completely embarrass Accrington Stanley. I was really, really surprised that we were able to pick up such a big victory against one of these sort of teams, especially as this team, yes, it's challenging for the Football League, but was also a former Football League side. So really, really good performance, and I think we're in good shape to go into the next match against Rugby. But can't get complacent though, especially the fact that Rugby are probably going to be looking to beat us, especially the fact that we have a little bit of a history in previous seasons. But before we get into that match, let's just have a quick look at the league table to show you what the league is looking like. As you can see, we're currently sitting in 4th place, as you can see, and also it's clear that we're probably going to be battling in the playoffs. We're 6 points out away from Boston, who have yet to play their 19th game this season, but we're only 3 points away from 2nd place Rugby and 2 points behind our other rivals, Hereford, 2 points clear of Gainsborough and 5 clear of 6th place Kidderminster. So still all to play for as we head up towards we're near the halfway point of the season already. And as I mentioned before, Dunstan really struggling at the bottom of the league, only 4 points so far this season, 17 away from the safety zone. So yeah, really, really tough season for them. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the match away against Rugby. I'm expecting, I'm not exactly sure what the odds are for this match, but as you can see, quite a 482 fans out of 575 going to be coming to this game. Rugby Stadium is very, very small, so I'm not sure if they would be allowed to play in the Vanarama National League if they do get promoted. They may end up having to expand their ground or something like that, or forced to expand their ground if they're going to have to if they want to get promoted. But we'll have to wait and see on that front. Sorry, I just nearly had a little hiccup there. Anyways, let's get into the team selection once it eventually loads. Here we go. So in goal, it's going to be Ryan Schofield with Taylor, Lovell, Thomas and Williams as the back four. Kuyar and Davidson in the midfield. Kuyar not really happy with the fact that he was left out of the Afghanistan national team. Joel is alongside Koval, so Koval is going to be making another appearance because he's been really on fire the last few games. Let's keep giving him the opportunities. I'm going to have George Thomas alongside George Newell, because unfortunately Lyle Taylor stopped scoring a little bit, has had a little bit of a barren streak, and Thomas and Newell have had some better games. As you can see, George Thomas with a 9.2 in the last match, in his last game, and 7.6 for George Newell. So yeah, that's my decision making with regards to that. I'm going to make one small change, I think, on the bench. I'm going to bring on Goddard instead of Cogill. Harris is also on the bench as what's his face is Adrian Morford was actually out injured for a couple of games, so that's the reason why he is on the bench. Callum Harris is on the bench instead of Morford. But without further ado, let's get into the game. Focus on defensive positioning because of how potent the Rugby attack is, especially with the likes of Beckford and Elliot Murray, who's looking to move away from actually Rugby because of the he wasn't offered a contract or something like that, something around that sort of lines. As you can see, Rugby have actually got the other favourites for this match, which is a little bit dangerous. But let's see if we can get into the game and try and get a positive result. As you can see, Elliot Murray, big player for them, obviously. Beckford as well. They don't have their goalkeeper Anion, I think. Oh, that's the wrong team. I'm thinking of Bishop Auckland right there. But yeah, Elliot Murray and Jay Beckford are the two players that we definitely need to keep tabs on, because those two are potent, especially Murray, as I've mentioned on many occasions. He's probably going to score now that I've mentioned him so many times this game. I'll just quickly do the opposition instructions. Alright, we're ready. Let's get into the team talk here. Let's see what we can do from this. Let's go for that and see if that will generate some motivation. Yep, a couple of players looking quite happy, which is fantastic. Let's see what the positional team talks does. We've got another player happy and another one in the midfield. I think that's Luca Koval, which is good. And let's see if we can get Newell happy. Oh, unfortunately not, but he's listened keenly, so fingers crossed on that front. Let's get into the game away against Rugby. I think Rugby are kicking off based off what's happening in the background of the this page, but I'm waiting for the match to load just to make sure that is the case. Yep, there we go. Rugby are going to be kicking off from left to right. Udo with the ball out towards Bayou. Oh, Dawson had the ball there, and Bayou plays the ball up forward towards the attacking force, but we were able to cut it out, and that's the end of the first highlight. Okay, it's a free kick from Dawson, and he's scored from that free kick, and it's 1-0 Rugby from their second shot, and their second shot on target. Brian Dawson with his second goal of the season, one of their regens. I think he's come through their academy, but I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's a poor start for us. Okay, here is the replay of the free kick. As you can see, it's just on the outside of the edge of the D. Sorry, Dawson just steps forward, and Schofield tries his best to cover that far post, but unfortunately he's unable to do so, and that is 1-0 inside 15 minutes. Okay, I've got a highlight just before half time. The Rugby keeper plays it up forward, but Thomas has managed to win it, but unfortunately it's dropped down to Smith in the midfield, and Piers Murray on this left hand side probably will cross it in. Unfortunately he doesn't though, and it's a bit of a poor delivery from the wide midfielder, and that counts as a highlight apparently, which is a bit frustrating. But that's half time. We've not shown up in this game. Let's give them a little telling off to see if we can inject some fire and some motivation into this team, because we have not turned up. We haven't had a single highlight in this entire match. I mean, the defence has done okay despite that free kick, but Williams has not had the greatest rating at 6.4, and Coville, Thomas and Newell are only on 6.4s as well, so maybe an opportunity for May and Taylor to come on a bit later on in the second half to change things up as we now begin the second half. We're going to be kicking off this time. 490 fans apparently have come to this game. Not sure how many of those are Histon fans, but have a quick look as the initial highlight's been played. 17 of them have come to travel to Rugby for this. And we've got a highlight from a corner here. Kuyar plays it in, but it's cleared away, and it doesn't even beat the first man. And Beckford's now here on this left-hand side on the counter-attack. Gets past Taylor too easily, and Beckford's there into the box. Good save from Schofield, though. And we've managed to clear it away. And here's Kuyar on this right-hand side. Possible counter-attack for us now. Although we're slightly outnumbered in the box here. Kuyar plays it out towards Coville on this left-hand side. He's now got pulls the ball in towards Joel. And I think it's a header has just gone wide of the left-hand side of the post. That's our first highlight of the game. And that came off a Rugby chance, actually, at the other end. Right, we're coming up towards the hour mark. It's time to make a substitution because things aren't really working for us at the moment. Newell's not had the greatest game, so Lyle Taylor's going to come on. We're going to swap Thomas and Taylor around as well, and we're going to keep it at that for now. I am looking at Davidson and also Coville in terms of their fitness, so keep an eye on that. We might bring on Harris or May a bit later on, and also keep an eye on the defence because Taylor's not having the greatest game at 6.5, so maybe a chance for Goddard to come on the pitch, but we have to start off with just Taylor for now and then see how the game is progressing. Okay, I've got a throw in on this right-hand side, just inside our own half. Joel plays it to Davidson, plays it up towards Lyle Taylor, the substitute. Back to Davidson, who's making strides inside the Rugby half. May play it ball. It's taking a shot, though, and it's John just wide of the left-hand side of the post. I don't know what he was doing, though, taking a shot from so far out. Was he trying to fool the keeper or something? That was really crazy that he was trying to do something like that. I thought we'd try and build it up a little bit more than doing a long shot there. It's really, really stupid, I think, from his perspective. Right, we're going to make another change now. Luca Coville is going to come off, and Justin May is going to come on for 23 minutes. See what he can do off the bench, and possibly also going to bring on Callum Harris for Davidson, although he's on a 6.8 for now. We're going to keep it as it is. I might actually bring on Goddard, because he's actually been pretty good a couple of times off the bench. Actually, no, I'm going to undo that, and then I'm going to wait for a bit, because I don't really want an injury to pop up. And if an injury does pop up, we won't have a replacement ready. Right, one last change is going to be made in the last 15 minutes or so. Davidson is going to come off, and I'll bring on Callum Harris. We're going to go a bit more attacking as well. Go on to the overload tactic as well, because we haven't had a single shot on target the entire game. That's really, really disappointing to see. Especially the fact that I've got work ball into the box on my instructions. To prove that, I'm going to show you it right now. As you can see, yeah, we'll work ball into the box rather than shoot from long range, which is really, really stupid. I don't know why the defence is we're trying to do that. It's really, really stupid. Right, we're into added time now. Looks like we're not going to get another highlight in the rest of this match. It's been a really disappointing performance in this game. We should really have been doing a lot better than this, as Bayou will take the throw in, and there it is. There is full time. we've suffered defeat to Rugby, and it's a really disappointing one. I'm definitely going to tell the players off for that. It's really, really disappointing. Yes, the defence has done alright, but the attack, there's no offence. As after what happened in the last game, I just don't know why we're so on and off with that sort of thing. It's really, really frustrating. Especially the last 2 games, we've scored 8 goals, and now we've failed to register a single shot on target, and no goals in this case. So yeah, the fact that our best player was a 7.2 and was a 7.2 and he was a defender just shows what's going on here. Anyways, we're gonna have to move on from this, unfortunately, and just try and get and win the next one, and try and hope that those guys in front of us mess up a little bit. Okay, in terms of what game to do next, I'm tempted to go all the way up to this Kidderminster match, just so we get another good chunk of the season done. Also get this FA Trophy second round match against Workington out of the way. You never know what sort of draw we're getting. That's a pretty favourable draw because they're in the division below us, so it'll be good to get into the third round and possibly get another possible FA Trophy Cup run like we did last season. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. We're going to go for the Kidderminster home game though. It's a pretty big matchup. I mean, Tamworth is also a big one because they're at home. Gainsborough as well away, but we've already done Gainsborough this season. But I'm going to go for Kidderminster actually and rattle through a couple more games of the season and try and get this season done as soon as possible. I mean, ideally, I want to try and get another season done before FM18 comes up. We'll just have to wait and see how busy I end up being. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the episode despite the result, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next episode, which should hopefully be this Kidderminster game. So until then, see you later.